and welcome back to Movie Review Mom. If you're a subscriber, thank you for coming back. And if you're brand new to my channel, yay, you finally found me. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. My goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision for you and your family as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both sometimes watching a specific film. So the movie I'm reviewing today is called The Gray Man. Now, I know this movie already came out on Netflix. I actually wrote my review and posted it back when the movie first came out. I just haven't had time to film it and to get the video edited and all that kind of stuff because I've been sick. And so if you're ever wondering if I've written or if I've done a review on a particular movie, run over to my website, moviereviewmom.com, and you can probably find the review there. Then I start to video stuff as fast as I humanly can. And so thank you for your patience. I really appreciate your support. All right, so let me tell you about this movie. It's rated PG-13. However, it could be rated R for extreme violence, blood, and gore. It's 2 hours and 2 minutes long. That's a really long movie. The movie review mom grade I'm giving it is a B. Stick around. Now, don't just leave because I told you my grade. Find out why. So I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out things I liked and didn't like, as well as offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, funny lines, interesting lines, if there are any, and even recommendations for other films that are sort of similar that I think you're also going to really like. Okay, so in a nutshell, when the CIA's most skilled operative, whose identity is unknown to anybody, accidentally uncovers dark agency secrets, a psychopathic former colleague puts a bounty on his head, setting off a global manhunt by international assassins. So this movie is directed by the famous Russo brothers. Because of that, you know it's going to be high action and high violence and probably pretty bloody. Joe Russo co-wrote the screenplay with his reunited MCU writing team, which is cool, with Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. We get to see director Joe Russo at the very end of the actual movie playing one of the CIA executives. I love that. So some of the things I really liked about the movie are, first of all, the powerful cast, which features Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, and Billy Bob Thornton. They all did a great job as expected. Chris Evans had been invited to play the role of the Gray Man, but he opted to play the over-the-top villain, and he looked like he had a blast doing it as well. He felt terrible for accidentally hitting Ryan Gosling in the face with his prop gun on the very first day of filming. I think that's hilarious. He and Ryan Gosling were encouraged to improvise many of their lines. Now, some people may say, yeah, it showed. But other times it just looked very, very natural. And like I said, they did a great job. And just seeing the two of them, battling against each other was really good fun. Fun fact number one, Netflix spent $200 million on this movie. That's the most expensive Netflix original movie ever. And it shows. There are a lot of explosions and just a lot of incredible set pieces and designs and locations and all of that. Now, some people will criticize and say, well, yeah, they didn't need to spend all that for this mediocre of a movie. It wasn't a mediocre movie, but for that kind of budget, it should have been unbelievable, unfortunately. But I'll get to all of that here in just a minute. Ryan Gosling's character has a tattoo that he explains represents a Greek figure in mythology. He doesn't say the name, but in case you're wondering, and my whole family, as we watched it together, were like, wait, what was the name of that Greek guy that this story is about? It's actually Sisyphus. And it's appropriate because in the story and in the life of this character, both push forward without really getting anywhere, seemingly. Fun fact number two, the scenes of Baku were actually shot in the Czech Republic. So that's kind of cool. The beautiful locations and the bullet-filled set designs are really fantastic, as I mentioned. The gorgeous and massive home at the end of the movie is the famous Chateau de Chantilly, north of Paris. And the whole time I'm like, where were they filming that? That's beautiful. I want to go there. The stunt team did an incredible job. I mean, it's just one fight sequence and action sequence after another the entire time. They definitely did their work. And there were even a few fight sequences that actually impressed me enough that it reminded me of the perfectly choreographed ones in the John Wick franchise. You know, those fight scenes are like unbelievable as you're just like, whoa. And speaking of which, we've got another John Wick movie coming out soon. Yay. Love Keanu Reeves. And actually, if you want to hear his voice before that movie comes out, he actually voices one of the characters in the DC League Superheroes animation movie that came out recently. Now, in this movie, there is some humor, but not all of it lands. And then ultimately, I just love spy on spy action movies. So, with all that praise, there were just a few things that I didn't like or thought could have been done better. First of all, this is overly uber violent. Like I said, my family or part of my family watched this movie together. My son and his girlfriend were there, and his girlfriend is so sweet. She had to look away and she squealed several times, like, oh, and then I would say, okay, you can look back now. They're done fighting or the blood is gone, that kind of thing. But even, the rest of us were like, oh, my 22-year-old son just laughed a lot because of many of the scenes and how just overly ridiculously outrageous they are. Many of the action scenes look like they came straight out of unbelievable video game sequences. And he thought that that was entertaining. So at the end, I said, did you like this movie? What grade would you give it? And he said, it was fun because it was so ridiculous, basically. And so he was entertained. And like I said, we all laughed and talked during the movie, and it definitely held our attention. Some of the dialogue, however, was just sort of silly and even cliched. Now, the gray man idea is to be invisible. You blend in with your surroundings. And so what's funny and ironic is Ryan Gosling's character is most definitely seen by everyone who hunts him down for 2 hours. I mean, he's in the middle of the street. They see him. They know who he is. Now, not everybody knows. There are a few times where he's able to slip around various things, but I just sort of laughed because I was expecting this completely anonymous character. But as expected, the professional film critics hate this movie, giving it a 47% on Rotten Tomatoes, while audiences are getting a kick out of it, awarding it at 91%. There are some bad CGI moments, but as I mentioned, we had a good time. It was fun. We, got takeout food and just sat and watched it and laughed and had a good time. Let me give you some tips for parents. As I mentioned, there's tons of brutal violence, blood and guts, death, profanity, tons of destruction, tons of explosions, lots of weapons of various kind. I mean, this is, a man's testosterone driven movie for the most part. Now, some of the themes that are illustrated well are identity, greed, power, control, protecting the innocent, family, and regret. So normally I write down funny lines and interesting lines, and I have them on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. And then I usually share a few of them with you during my reviews on YouTube, just to kind of give you a flavor for the movie. But I realized I wasn't taking notes. I was eating the takeout while I was watching. And so I didn't write any down this time. So sorry about that. But check out all my other reviews because I try to do a really good job with it. All right. So now, before I go, let me give you a couple of other recommendations for other movies that I think are sort of similar that you're also going to enjoy. The first one that I thought of is The King's Man. Also overly violent, but some sophistication and style and humor involved in those movies in that franchise. And then another one I thought of is called Gunpowder Milkshake. Now, I mentioned this movie is almost predominantly testosterone driven, besides Ana de Armas, and she gets in there with the shoot 'em up as well. But in Gunpowder Milkshake, it's also a Netflix movie. It's all women, a female cast, and they are overly violent and with blood and gore and all of that. And I was like, whoa. But it also has some touching moments. And one of the predominant themes is family and friendship and loyalty, kind of like in this movie as well. All right, that's it for my review. I hope if you watch it, you get a kick out of it. And if you don't, well, I try to give you the heads up. Thank you so much for supporting me here. And invite your friends, say, check out Movie Review Mom. I'm trying to grow my subscriber base and my hour counts that I need that are required by YouTube. Anyway, anytime you like the video or comment or subscribe, it spreads magical YouTube fairy dust all over my channel. And so I really appreciate your support. All right, have a fantastic day and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.